God.
Oh my God. Sorry. That was alarming.
A little bit.
And here shows up this pickup, which we call Murphy.
Does Murphy come from something?
Yeah, it comes from Murphy's Law, because if something can go wrong, it will.
That's fortuitous. Better get that AAA membership going there, Case.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Holy shoot, I just made my pants brown.
Yeah, so glad you guys put me behind the wheel. Too fast.
Too fast.
Okay, calm down. I don't know if you could make that claim.
Doing 56 and a 55, so what do you mean too fast?
Yeah, I love that we put me behind the wheel for this part of the drive.
Today we are buying nearly a 100-year-old Ford, and what are we doing with the Case?
We're immediately going to take it on the highway where it doesn't belong.
Yeah, that's right, we're going to drive it in modern 2024 traffic. But we've got a selection of Ford products here at Burt's Model A Center outside of Denver, Colorado. We're going to show you around these cars, and then we're actually going to buy one and drive it home. So Case, I'm going to grab the camera and tell us what we're looking at.
Now, we've done a bunch of videos on a Ford Model T. It's our 1915 Ford Model T, and of course the Model A is really the primary car that replaced it. So they built about 4.8 million of these cars between 1928 and 1931, which is a huge number, right, Tommy?
It sure is. And Case, somehow we convinced our editor to give us a check of nearly $20,000 and come down here to Burt's and pick one out. So we got a bunch of them to choose from, and we're going to kind of look at them, pick one, pay the folks some money, and then drive it home.
Yeah, we're doing some old school car shopping, but meanwhile, as we walked into this shop, we've seen some pretty insane stuff.
So I think Case is in heaven in this shop because it is one of the coolest places I think either of us have ever been to.
Dude, it's so cool. This is old school hot rod heaven because there's an unbelievable amount of parts here. Of course, we don't work for this shop or anything, but just getting to see all these parts side by side is pretty rad. We've got like a million engine blocks here. Got a bunch of doors over here. We have shelf after shelf after shelf of wheels, more engine blocks. Dude, this is crazy.
I mean, you know, we read so much about how everything is moving to Amazon.
Look at the old luggage.
But look at businesses like Burt's, once again, not sponsored at all, just pointing out some cool stuff happening here in Denver that is keeping the hobby alive one door at a time.
Yeah, things like this are becoming fewer and further between because I think it's probably hard to sustain a shop based on a vehicle as old as this, which of course the people that were around when these vehicles were new are fewer and fewer as time goes on, but it's just wild to get to walk around and see all the parts.
Yeah, cylinder heads. I mean, look, you can get one in any color you want. Green, yellow, green again.
Yeah, we've got like a million pedals over here. There's just a ton of stuff in this shop, so it's really cool. Oh, a bunch of transmissions.
Oh, yeah. All right, enough looking at parts, let's go look at cars. So Burt's here has a number of cars on consignment, so they sell them for customers and that kind of thing. And Case, there are a bunch of body styles to choose from, right?
Yeah, apparently they made, what, over 30 different body styles, I think, in just the 4 years that they made these Model A's.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, I'm kind of partial to this light green two-door here.
So what's cool about these is they're kind of like Legos, where the frames are pretty much the same. The running gear is largely the same. You just kind of swap the top on them when they were building them. So this one is a two-door, only $12,500. It's got some paint issues. Look, the market for Model A's ranges from like $5,000 to like $25,000. Some are more desirable than others. But, you know, from folks I talked to in this hobby, a lot of older folks, some younger folks though, it's just a really fun and affordable way to experience something totally different, right, Case?
Yeah, well, and actually, can I tell you, Tommy, of these ones that are for sale, my absolute favorite is the one that's not for sale. It's the hot rod over there with some hand-painted numbers on the side. That thing is wicked cool.
Now this truck is the most expensive here. They're asking $21,000 for it, but it's a 31. It's an original truck. It's not some conversion. You got these cool little wooden stakes in it. The color's right.
Oh, it's so nice.
Dude, it is so cool. Let's check out the engine. Now these all have a variant of a 4-cylinder engine with somewhere around 40 horsepower. and then these little teeth or feet that fold down.
Hey, prop up the hood. And 40 horsepower, man. I don't know if we're going to be able to handle one of these cars coming out of the Model T.
Just 20. No, compared to the T, this is like night and day. Look, we got a water pump. It's got an oil pump. I mean, this is basically a Tesla.
We don't have to start it by hand even.
God, I got electric start. No, Case, I think this is the one we should go for. I mean, I love the sedans and the coupes, and the convertibles are really cool, but we're truck folks in this area, so we're going to pick this one up. Pay the guy $21. I think it's a fair price for a 31 that's been fully restored, new engine, new trans, and yeah, let's go have some adventures in it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. This one's even in our company colors, man.
How could we
got to
not?
do it.
Case first drive in the 31 Ford pickup.
Dude, this is smaller than our 500.
Dude, the cabin is tiny. Actually, the whole truck is tiny.
So one of the guys that we met, really cool guy who's built over 300 of these engines, he said that back in these days, people were more like 5'7". I'm about 5'10", and you're about 6 foot.
6 feet, yeah.
Yeah, so it's tight.
It's really small.
But dude, you've got a throttle and a clutch on the floor.
What a concept. We have 3 normal gears.
Nice shift too.
Sheesh. So here's the thing, right? Driving a Ford Model T is closest associated to driving a tractor.
Yeah.
Driving this Model A is not far off a modern car.
Although it is kind of interesting, your throttle looks more like a button than a traditional pedal like your other two.
It's just this bubble on the floor, and you push in on this bubble, and that's your throttle.
Woo.
The steering,
Look at the torque.
dude, look at the torque. Second gear, lugging up the hill. The steering is surprisingly heavy at slow speeds, and the steering wheel is about the size of what, 3 basketballs?
Yeah. You know, it's funny, for a vehicle with obviously no power steering, the wheel is actually not that big.
You know, I think
Nothing in this car is that big, I guess. Truck.
driving this little truck in stop and go like city traffic would be pretty tiring because you really have Armstrong steering in this vehicle.
Look at your Speedo.
It's
That
horizontal.
is so cool, dude. Oh, that, ugh.
Oh man,
Oh.
already crunched it.
Sorry, fuel still on?
Yeah, fuel's still on.
Cool.
I think you just turn the key. Spark is advanced, and yeah, hopefully it just goes.
Oh, is it advanced or retarded?
Sorry, retarded, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, God, thank God.
Dude, like a gem. Wow, this is an impressive vehicle, Tommy. This is the best car you guys have ever bought as a company. Objectively the best.
You think this is the best?
Functionally the best vehicle that you guys have bought in the history of TFL.
You're saying better than the Ford Ranger Raptor?
Better than the Ranger Raptor. More capability, I'd venture to guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some strong statements. Better than the Ram Cummins? You're a Ram guy.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, let's not be obtuse.
The interesting thing about what is happening right now is Case might say something positive about a Ford truck, and I have never seen that happen.
It's true. It's only because it's so old that I'm allowing myself to feel that way.
Partake in any kind of joy, huh?
Exactly. Get flipped around in here. How's the turning radius? It's okay. It's okay.
Not great.
It's pretty good, Tommy.
I'm glad that the muscly one of us two is doing the 3-pointed turn here.
Yeah, even though my tetanus shot has rendered my left arm basically useless, but I figured,
Yeah, tetanus shot just in time.
yeah, a tetanus shot just in time for a 93-year-old truck to enter our lives.
All right.
How smart is that? Oh, wow. Yeah. That's,
Alarming. That's the word I would use for the brakes.
so I love that we're putting me behind the wheel for
The scary
the
part.
highway driving portion. That's good.
Oh, you got engine braking, no?
Oh, it's not the slowing down I'm worried about, Tommy. It's the going the same speed that everybody else in Colorado does.
You know, Case, that might just not happen.
Honestly, we're probably going to be best off in the left lane because in Colorado, that's where everyone drives the slowest. You know, I thought it was going to be a little strange using this throttle,
Oh, Case.
but this throttle feels pretty natural.
That feels pretty good, huh?
Should I pick the left lane or the right lane?
Wherever you want.
Probably the right lane.
I think that's probably a good call.
I'm going to slow down way in advance because, again, just from watching you drive, my confidence in these brakes is limited.
This is what makes it a little more scary than the Model T is the Model T will do like 34.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying, but you're only going 34. Guess you're doing 65 on basically bicycle tires.
I think it's a good thing for everyone who's out there on the roads to experience driving an older vehicle. It doesn't have to be this old, but a vehicle of this age especially really does give you the full impression of how fast 50, 60 miles an hour is, because in a modern car it feels like you're not moving at all. In one of these, you really appreciate how much momentum you have in this whole vehicle.
I remember my driving test, they told us, like, you're driving a 4,000 pound weapon, and
Yeah.
you don't really get that impression of control or lack thereof in some of the newer vehicles. But you're right, in something like this, 55 miles an hour feels like you're really moving.
The previous owner did mention to us, well, he didn't recommend going over 40.
Oh, we already broke that.
Yeah. We like to live dangerously, right, Tommy?
Yeah, there you go. Now, this is going to be interesting. So we got a good-sized hill on this 60-mile-an-hour road.
Yeah, I'm going to maneuver on over to the right lane here, moseying. I'm not going to go into overdrive here because I think I kind of need the gearing for the hills. Come on, Murphy! Woo!
Oh, yeah.
That is put down 55-ish, almost 50-ish. It's pretty good.
That's okay.
You know what? I mean, we're getting past, but not as much as I would expect.
Yeah, honestly, that's
Mighty Model A.
it's not bad at all. Top gear, 50, 55 up the hill.
Oh, and here we go. For the downhill, this is going to be intense. Well, the other scary thing here is, like, if that light were to turn orange. See, I'm trying to do the speed limit, which we are doing right now, and that's good. So I don't want to be going way slower than everyone else on the road, because that in itself isn't that safe. But if we're going downhill and that light goes red, I'm going to need half a mile to slow this car down from 55 miles an hour.
Oh my god! Holy shoot! I just made my pants brown.
Yeah, so we got our little bicycle tires into some ruts there, merging in with traffic. Now we got another rut. Let's see how this goes. Okay, that one's okay.
That was better.
Wow, that was
horrible.
yeah. So glad you guys put me behind the wheel. Too fast.
Too fast.
Okay, calm down. I don't know if you can make that claim.
Doing 56 and a 55, so what do you mean too fast?
Yeah, I love that we put me behind the wheel for this part of the drive.
Yeah, Case gets the scary traffic part. I got that fun through the city bit.
Oh my God.
I think we got some crosswinds happening.
Yeah, this road is also, it's not the best. Hey, should we pass?
Oh my God, we're
gonna
for a
pass. Although we're also about to start going uphill again. Come on. Let's go, Murphy!
Woo-hoo-hoo! Oh yeah.
We made a pass.
That was awesome.
There's also a box truck behind us. We might have been slowing down a little bit. And now we're back to almost 40 miles an hour. This hill's almost over, please.
Come on.
Just do 45.
Driving these old cars on the highway just kills me because it feels like they're going to explode. There's just so much noise coming through them.
Well, at least we're not ringing it out too hard.
So I'm here with the previous owner of this Model A we just purchased. What was your name, sir?
My name's Gary.
Gary, I'm Tommy. It's a pleasure.
Hi, Tommy. Nice to
So
meet you.
talk me through, how did you get into Model A's?
I have always wanted a Model A. And when I was a kid, I wanted a Mustang. My dad wouldn't let me have a Mustang. I wanted a van. He wouldn't let me have a van. I wanted a Model A, but I had to build it in the garage, and he wouldn't let me build it in the garage.
Okay.
So all those years go by. Then when I first met my father-in-law, he had a Model A that he was building. So I went down there to Pueblo with him and built this Model A, and then he taught me how to drive it, and I just fell in love with Model A's. And I used to come here to Burt's and pick up parts, and I'd work downtown, I'd pick up parts, take them down to Pueblo, and he taught me how to drive it, and I really just got the bug. But I wanted to pick up.
Okay.
So I just kept watching and watching and watching, and I knew that they sold people's cars here, and here shows up this pickup, which we called Murphy. You name whatever you want. And
I think we're going to stick with it. I think we have to.
And so I picked up, we bought this. How long did we own it? Probably 13 years I've had it.
Okay.
And just drive it around town. It's just funner than heck to drive around town. And keep in the garage, dust it off once in a while. And sometimes just drive it when it's dusty. It's great to go to car shows with. I mean, this is an original body. This all goes together. Everything except the floorboards there.
Do you know the story behind the truck, like where it came from?
I know that it was bought in 1931 in Denver, sold in 1932 in Denver, and then the guy that actually put this together, I think, bought it from that estate in 1995. So wow. You guys, I think, are the 5th owners.
Crazy. It's treated you pretty well over the years?
Oh, this is awesome.
Great. So you haven't had to do any engine work or trans work?
No engine work. I had the transmission rebuilt here, and the steering. When you look at other Model A's and see how tight the steering is, or how loose it is,
yeah,
and then you see how tight this is, you'll appreciate that I got the steering redone.
So Gary, we have a Model T that we've been doing a series on, but we're new to the Model A world. So can you walk us through some of the highlights and how these vehicles are engineered and what everything does?
That's your fuel tank.
Yep.
Right here. Okay. Now always make sure it's in neutral. Somebody's been driving it. So you retard the spark, give it some gas, double check that it's in neutral. This is starter switch.
Okay.
This is your fuel gauge. Mm-hmm. And if you shake the pickup, you can see it'll move a little bit.
Okay, gotcha.
There's a wire that goes in there, and there's a cork.
Okay.
That's floating in the fuel tank.
So it's just fully mechanical.
It's fully mechanical. This
Very
is
cool.
your ammeter here and your speedometer here.
Gotcha.
This is your gas valve and your choke.
Okay, interesting. So you can turn the fuel off to the carb in the vehicle.
Well, you turn the fuel right here.
Is there like a little petcock?
There's a petcock there that's turned on.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Good to know.
There you go, Murph. And then so you just adjust your spark here.
So you got manual spark advance. Yep. And then that's kind of like your idle. So it's like a hand throttle.
Idle. And so you just leave this set where you want it. Like that, so it's idling.
Gotcha. What about this little guy? What does he do?
That is your headlights.
Okay.
Okay, and those are called eyebrows up there on the little silver things above the headlights. See the marble there? That's your headlights right there on low beam. Now when they're high beam, the marble lights up.
Very nice.
And then you got this air conditioning, right?
Yep, the old school push open AC.
Yep. You have that on your T maybe?
What's your favorite story with this vehicle, Gary? What?
Oh man, I drove it in the Western Welcome Week parade with the Boy Scout troop, and that was fun. And we used to do a thing, Haunts of Littleton, with Boy Scouts, and we drive all around, dress up like we're dead, and drive all around Littleton, downtown Littleton for Halloween, and that was the fun. And then just hot rodding it around the neighborhood.
So Gary, do you have any other cars that you collect?
No. The other thing I collect is antique beer cans.
That's cool.
Yeah. Okay, so neutral,
yep,
brake, fuel, spark always. When you get done driving, you push the spark lever up.
Okay, so you got to be fully retarded to start it. Yep. Let me give it a little fuel. Very cool.
When I sold my father-in-law's car, I took the guy for a ride. I was like, man, I want to take this for one more ride. Well, here I am taking this for one more ride. It's hilarious. Yeah, I love this. You hear it banging back there, and it's just kind of bounced around. It's got original shocks on it.
Does it really?
Yeah.
What's the fastest you've had it up to?
And I don't know, probably 45.
Yeah.
I just don't, I don't know how to run it.
So Gary, I have to ask, does Murphy come from something?
Yeah, it comes from Murphy's Law, because if something can go wrong, it will.
That's fortuitous. Better get that AAA membership going there, Case.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was a good name. I name all my cars, and it just fit.
That's awesome.
And stuff doesn't go wrong with this. It just doesn't. You guys will get lots of enjoyment out of it.
So, Case, let's talk about the Model A. First impressions. It's quite loud and buzzy.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think a selling point of this was that you'll be able to hear a whisper at its top speed of around 60 miles an hour.
60 miles an hour, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing on this vehicle that makes you realize you're driving something out of The Great Gatsby are the brakes. They're there. Oh, God. Bold move from our camera operator.
Yeah. Well, luckily our camera operator technically paid for it.
So yeah.
So if Roman slams on the brakes and it goes poorly,
it's all on him. Got a double clutch. That's the one thing I am forgetting. So there's no speed shifting this 93-year-old Ford. Well, the Model T was designed in 1908. And the story goes that Henry Ford designed that car and then refused to change it. Finally, his son and the engineers were like, Dad, we have to do something. We're losing market share. It's the mid-1920s. We're driving a car from essentially 1908. And he would not change the design. Eventually, finally, they convinced him, like, you cannot build. He thought he built the perfect car. And they're like, you cannot keep building this thing. You have to change it.
I think if he had his way, we'd have a 2024 Model T Ford.
I think he's right. So in something like 4 months, the engineering team came up with the Model A, and in 4 years sold nearly 5 million of these things.
That doesn't really happen today.
It doesn't at all. Absolutely not. And it's not like they had like 19 different small trucks and big cars and little cars and minivans. Yeah. Like they had the Model A. You can get it in a bunch of different shapes, but you could buy a Model A.
Yeah.
That was the vehicle. All right, Case, we got to put some gas in this thing.
Yeah, we do. What do you got, Tommy?
So, Case, the gas tank in the Model A lives basically above your knees.
It's like a Corvette. Tell me I'm wrong.
Maybe less safe than a Corvette. So we're gonna muscle his cap off.
Oh, look at the grip strength.
And then they have this little cover that you put on here because inevitably you're gonna spill some gas on the paint. And now, in theory, we won't spill gas on the paint.
I mean, there's still quite a bit of paint past that mat, but that doesn't hurt. That's for sure.
So, Case, I asked them, I said, hey, any kind of special gas we need to use, like lead additive? And the head of Burt's is like, no, just gas. So,
yeah, there is a station not far from us, though, that you can get ethanol-free gas from, which is pretty nice.
Do you ever think it's crazy, Case, that 93 years after this little truck was made, we are still operating it with the same substances that a brand new 2024 vehicle uses?
I'm going to venture to guess that the fuel that we're running today is probably a little better than the fuel that they were running in 1931, but it is roughly the same stuff with a lot of additives now.
Fuel system
oh no.
Mileage and performance and can even
oh no, Case.
Oh, it's yelling at you, dude.
It's trying to sell us additives for a 100-year-old Ford truck.
Yeah, little do they know.
So, yeah, I mean, the fuels now are so much more advanced than the fuels back in the day. And, you know, there's like talk like, well, what about lead additive? From everybody I talked to, the pros, they were like, just normal gas. I mean, yeah. What other thing from 93 years old would you ingest in your car or body? Would you take a vaccine from 93 years ago?
No, probably not.
No.
There's few things. But yeah, but this Model A can pretty much handle just about anything we throw at it from the sound of it.
So we're not going to fill it up all the way because the previous owner said if you do, it kind of sloshes at the top. So we'll put like 4 gallons in.
Yeah, it's like my old motorcycles.
Look at that. More fuel efficient than the Prius if you only put 4 gallons in.
Is that? I don't think that's science.
4.5. So now, Case, modern trucks have running boards, right, to help you get in and out.
This one does too.
This running board is so you can literally ride on the side of the car.
Well, yeah, there's not a lot of seating space, huh?
I mean, that's the whole purpose, right? Is you could stand on this while your friend drives along to go to the Great Depression Festival or something.
Yeah, it's better than a crew cabin.
Please start.
My fingers are crossed for you, Tommy.
It's gonna be so embarrassing.
Easy.
Wow.
This is a good truck.
This thing runs so unbelievably well. That's crazy. The one part about these old cars, which is always a little unnerving, is the grindy gearboxes.
Yeah, it's a sound that we're not used to in modern cars, at least if you're doing things correctly. And the better you are at working these transmissions, the less of that you'll have. But I think there's some amount of it, especially going into first from a dead stop, that's hard to get away from. But this is our first experience with a Model A, so let us know if we're wrong.
I don't know much about designing 1930s cars.
Oh my God, we're going over 65.
Oh my God, I gotta document this moment. The problem is, the tires are just so narrow that any groove in the road, any hole, they just follow, right?
Yeah. Which I've experienced on a motorcycle, and so I expect it, but I'm not used to preparing myself for that in a truck. God, I'm white knuckling the steering wheel hard as ever. Oh my God! Oh my God! Ah!
That's so scary.
Hey guys, let's go buy a $21,000 Model A truck. Case, why don't you take it on this 65-mile-per-hour highway back to Boulder? You could steer this vehicle at those speeds, right? Totally, guys, no problem at all. We're not going to run into oncoming traffic. You never know when it's coming either.
The problem is, it's just sudden. You're cruising along, and then a car gives you a slight gush of wind, and you're immediately being dragged into oncoming traffic. Or certain death, as I like to call it.
Yeah, this is, I think, one of the few cars I've driven that I really do feel like I could get into what on motorcycles we call a tank slapper.
But like, the shock absorbing capability, not really.
But is not a fact. Is not a piece of technology that we were blessed with here in the Model A.
I know it has shock absorbers. They don't do anything.
Does it actually have shocks?
Yeah, it does have shock absorbers.
Did the Model T have shocks?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I might say I would feel more comfortable flying in a Boeing.
Would you feel more comfortable going with me in a paraglider?
Absolutely not. I'd rather steer into oncoming traffic in this Model A than fly in the paraglider. You don't need to spend $300,000 for a Ferrari or McLaren to have a fun experience.
Which is pretty cool because there's a lot of really interesting vehicles out there and a lot of them are very expensive. This is not one of those things. These are actually pretty affordable, pretty attainable. And they made almost 5 million of them. There's not 5 million of them still around, but they're plentiful enough that you don't really have to look that far to find them.
No, you're 100% right. I mean, for, let's say, $15,000,
Yeah.
you can get a really nice Model A.
Yeah.
And that is a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but that is still less money than the very cheapest new car you can buy.
Oh yeah, and there's plenty of worse deals out there. Who could we upset by telling them their car's a worse deal than this?
Than a 100-year-old Ford.
Yeah.
No, and it's cool because, like, this car is slow, but it's not like you're driving a new car slow. People kind of give you a break.
Oh, yeah, you're not going to have people upset at you, well, typically, that are going to be riding your bumper. People are pretty excited to see this. I think we've been getting waved at a bunch, people saying hello because this is just a neat thing to see out on the road. Kind of similar to the Model T.
Do you ever think that, like, old cars, they just, and I know maybe it's just because, like, you don't see them, but they just seem to have more attention to detail and design?
It is really cool. There's a lot on this car that is just beautifully put together and beautifully designed. There's a sense of craftsmanship on this car that doesn't exist in a lot of products nowadays. There's still boutique products out there that are typically very expensive where you can tell somebody really cared about how these things were put together. But this is from an era where it truly was craftsmen putting these vehicles together. And so there was a lot of attention to detail and to just making them beautiful. To your point, that fuel gauge has this decoration around the outside of it. It's kind of a star pattern. It's really neat. And even just the texture on this dash, it's all beautifully constructed. Stuff that they didn't have to do, but they did because it's caring about what it is that you do, which is an old school thing that doesn't necessarily exist anymore.
Oh, you're right about that.
Or it's less common.
Now, there were two different Model A trucks back in the day.
Yeah.
So there was this one, which is kind of the spiritual predecessor to like an F-150.
Sure, yeah.
But then there was another truck called the Ford AA. And you could get those with dualies and a worm drive rear axle, and they had a crawler gear. And that's more in line with like a Ford F550.
Yeah.
So you had like a commercial truck.
Yeah.
And then you had like your everyday truck.
This is modern enough that this is getting towards something I can see actually wanting to own. Again, I'd go kind of the hot rod route, but I would get a Model A. The Model T is really cool, but I don't know. Well, like we were saying, it's just kind of a limited use case. Not a ton of stuff you can do with a Model T.
Yeah. Whereas this, you could drive this to work, take it to the ice cream shop.
Unless you have a YouTube channel, in which case you can do a couple things with a Model T.
Yeah, and apparently people want to watch us drive around in old bits of American steel.
Oh, cornering.
God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Sorry. That was alarming.
A little bit.
Wow.
Man, this is how you grow some hair on your chest. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah, you know, like, how come in the world of trucks today, like, people who think they're tough go buy like a brand new Super Duty, put 26-inch wheels on it and low-profile tires, and they think they're tough. You want to really be tough? Go buy a 1931 Ford truck and try driving it down the highway.
With a 2-inch wide tire.
You know, that's a good point. We should start a new trend. Screw these 14 wides for being tough.
Yeah.
The 2-inch wide tire. That's what separates the men from the boys right
That's
there.
where it's at.
That's right. 2 inches is the new 14 inches, folks.
Okay, this is kind of our last hill.
I think so.
That's good. Oh my God. Full throttle. We're speeding. 46.
I feel like I gave Case. I was like, Case, look at this really cool new truck we got. I'm really excited about it. It really drives pretty cool. And I'm like, now go drive it down the highway.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
But just like that, we're now back in Boulder. Back to the town where our office is. It's all around town driving from here on out.
Where, by the way, this truck was sold in 1932.
Yeah.
Started out in Denver and then made its way into Boulder. So it's
back
home.
Which is really cool. And yeah, we're going to do a lot more with this. We're going to do a lot more with this vehicle coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about it. We'd love to hear what you guys want to see with that. So drop us a comment and we'll be sure to read them.
Exactly, and that's all for this video. Good ship to third there.
Finally nailed it.
And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks, guys.